Anytime there. There we go.
What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. Welcome back to the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We've got a killer guest with us today. We're talking with Kevin Kauffman about how they have grown their team to dozens of agents and working in 4 different states. They've got, multiple, generations of, or multiple pillars of lead generation we're going to talk about, including referrals, sphere of influence, internet lead generation, all the places that happens, how to generate agent-to-agent referrals, strategic referral partnerships. Good Lord, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into with Kevin. There's a bunch of different directions that this can go. And as always, we have the unpredictable X Factor with us, the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniel. So I have no idea where this is going to go, but I'm going to hopefully put my Greg Wrangling certification to good use and keep this episode content packed and useful, because I know Kevin's going to be a lot of fun and we're going to have a good time. So first of all, Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
Dude, I put my clean boxers on for this podcast, so I'm feeling quite spiffy and clean and ready to go. It is awesome. And I got my head shake already in the show. This is amazing. But I've been looking forward to this as well. We did a great pre-show. Dude, guys, Kevin's a freaking legend. I mean, this dude has agents working in 4 states. He has dozens of them. He's using the technology to an epic level to help them and to do lead gen and all kinds of other stuff. So, I mean, this is going to be an exciting show. I've been looking forward to it. And, dude, I got to tell you, on a personal note, man, I'm really glad Kevin's in here. It's just kind of one of those things that just keeps on feeding. The good things just dovetail together. I mean, yesterday I was in San Francisco working on doing my first promotion for our new radio show that we're doing there. I got to tell you, man, I was like a kid in freaking a candy shop yesterday with the full-blown radio show with multiple different studios I can play in. I mean, that technology is like a business hard-on. It is like there's buttons and levers and colors and screens and stuff everywhere with microphones and lights. I'm like, oh, I get to use all of you?
No. You get to sit in front of them and not touch anything.
Oh, no, I was actually taught how to touch the controls
yesterday. I don't know about that. I'll have to see video evidence of that. All right, let's bring in Kevin from Group 4610, based in Phoenix. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, how's it going?
We're excited, obviously, to have you here. So we've given you hopefully
clean
the
underwear
best.
Today.
I know.
What I want to know is the clean underwear for me, or is it because it's Wednesday?
It's for you, and it's Wednesday.
Okay.
But
you wear clean underwear on Wednesdays, whether you need it or not, right?
Yeah, man. You just turn them inside out the rest of the time. That's what Matt taught me to do when we travel together.
Oh, that's awful. All right. Please let nobody in their right mind believe that. All right. So, Kevin, we've given you a horrible, informal, kind of an introduction, but I would love to hear it just in your own words. Give us a little sense of kind of what the team looks like and how long you've been at this.
Yeah, no problem. So I originally got licensed in end of May, really like June of 2007 in Phoenix, Arizona. My now business partner jokes that I was the one that kept the real estate school alive that year in Phoenix because the market was falling apart. And I literally, like, true story, guys, I had friends trying to convince me to not get a real estate license. Like, no, this is terrible. You're going to go broke. And I was like, dude, I'm already broke. It's okay. And so, because like every good realtor, I came into it with nothing. And so I got my license in 2007. My business partner, Fred Weaver, and I kind of started working together almost right away on a few deals. I always joke that he tricked me into working a short sale for him while he left the country on his honeymoon. And he literally said to me when he was telling me what a short sale is, he was like, hey, I don't even know if we can get paid on this. Like the seller doesn't have any money. I don't know if the bank would pay us. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. I got a license.
Wait, lots of work, lots of waiting, and no pay? Sign me up.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Like 9 months of work and I might get paid? I'm in. And so, it's funny. So him and I actually started formally working together the following February. It's like first week of February 2008, so about 10 and a half years. And truthfully, we were just doing short sales. And so we've been working together for 10 and a half years. It went from myself and my business partner and actually his brother, who likes to take credit for, he says, quote, I started this thing. And he's just as smart as I am because we promised to try to pay him within like 30 days or so, but we couldn't make any promises other than we would try. And so but he didn't have anything else to do either. He's a substitute teacher and a real estate agent and a musician. So like, it was perfect.
Exactly. I hear your doppelganger is calling. Yes.
I'll make an introduction to you offline. So we started working together February 2008, and it was all short sales in our market. And that's really where I cut my teeth in real estate. I joke, I sold a house to my best friend. He literally waited for me to get a license so he could buy a house in 2007. And I think I did one more transaction for a buyer, and then I did a short sale. And about the next 1,000 or so transactions that I did were short sales. Like that was really that's how I cut my teeth in real estate. And then when we could go all the way through it, I won't bore you guys with the details, but got to go through the ups and downs. Like my adjustment period in our business was actually the hard time for us was when it shifted to a more traditional market or a seller's market where people had equity, and I had to actually compete for listings. Like that's where I struggled at first. Like I always say, like even though I'd sold about 1,000 houses, 2013 was like the year I learned how to become a realtor because I had to learn how to take listings.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's a gal in my market here that I will never mention her name, but she was a royal pain in the ass because not that you were, but she was because she was princess, look at me kind of a chick. Like, hey, I got all the listings, and I came up to her one day, and I'm like, hey, so and so, can I help market some of your homes? Dude, she ripped off my head, shit down my throat, sewed my head back on, and sent me on my way. And I was like, that's awesome. But when the tide turned, and she had to go out there and hustle, she was like a fish on land, had absolutely no clue what to do. And then she started asking.
She have a lot of REO listings back then? Is that what it was?
Like she was carrying like 100 plus. Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny. Like, I couldn't even I made a lot of friends in those days because we were the only guys in the room who got there through short sales. Everyone else who was carrying massive listings like that, they were all doing REOs. And most of them were really cool. Made a lot of friends with them, but a lot of them were like your that sweetheart you just referenced. And I got to tell you, like I still laugh at some of those people today because like they just didn't make the turn because quite frankly they acted like shitheads. Like and it wasn't cool. It's not cool to treat people like that. Like especially in this industry, this industry is so small. Like it's such a small world. Like you just can't do that to people, man.
No.
Like even first of all, you just shouldn't do it because it's not cool. But it's from a professional standpoint, don't do it because it's gonna hurt you. I guarantee it's gonna come back to hurt you.
Yeah.
So, anyways, where were we? Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm a realtor.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Kevin. It's your first time to group. Want to talk?
Yeah, exactly. We do need emotional support groups. Kevin, quickly tell us what the team looks like right now because it's obviously gone through some evolution.
Yeah, so, and I'll give you a little backstory if it's okay, and as I lead up to today. So here we are, 2007. It's all short sales. I mean, we're literally not even. I think we closed one buyer transaction in 2008, and it was because like I felt like I had to do it out of obligation for somebody, and so we closed 60 or so transactions that year. It was my first full year in real estate. Pretty much all short sale listings. Grew. We made all the mistakes everybody made. The one thing we did right is we hired a really great admin to help us run our business about halfway through that year. Funny story, we had to borrow back her first paycheck because that was fun. And so then, we grew like the next year, 120 transactions, 140 the following. And we start to build this like really traditional, or if you're familiar with the millionaire real estate agent model, we built this team that was like an MREA model team. So buyer's agents, lead buyer agent, and showing assistants, listing agent. It's just that all of our listings happen to be short sales. And all the way up through 2012. And then what happens, the market turns for the better. And whole team quits on us. Like every salesperson literally quits. It was fun, by the way. If you've never had that experience, let me tell you, it's fun. And so
they all go out to sell on their own, right? Now that the market's turned, they feel like they can do it on their own. They all go out on their own.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, like I won't go into the details of it because and certainly like, let me be clear, like we just failed as leaders and we just failed as business people and just didn't know what the hell we were doing. I was literally in another state running a company I took a job. I don't know why, like I'm unemployable. But I took a job. And that lasted about 30 seconds before I realized I made a big mistake and I couldn't put on closed-toed shoes every day. And so I was like, okay, went back home. I wear flip-flops.
You're a barefooter like me?
I
Oh
wear flip
God.
flops literally like our
Oh.
first logo. We just changed it about a year ago. Our first logo actually had flip flops in it because like it's just kind of like our like fuck you. I'm not going to follow the rules of society.
I
Like
Yeah.
love you.
show
Yeah.
up to
Yeah.
class. Like we start teaching classes on short sales back in the early days. People were like, oh, the flip flop guys, and so we just literally had a logo created with flip flops in them. And so it just gave me permission to wear flip flops everywhere and not dress up, like, because I'm just not going to dress up. I don't care about regular rules.
Kevin, you and I just became best fucking friends, bro. Because I have my camo cargo shorts on, barefoot, and I actually threw something that's the semblance of a dress shirt on because I know Matthew, wants his everyone on his show to look good as he gives me the head nod of "You're welcome, your liege." Yes. But I mean, it's true though. I mean, it is that kind of like fuck you to the man, to the company, to everything else. Like, dude, I'm gonna show up with what I want to show up with. I want to dress the way I want to dress, and I'm comfortable this way. You know what? And Kevin, I bet you anything you're gonna say the same thing. I've never had a single client ever reprimand me or look down on me for not dressing up in a 3-piece suit or wearing something else. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
dude,
man.
what's up?
I remember in the early days, we used to generate a ton of leads through video. Like I'm talking like 2009. So that's when I say early days. We did a lot of video blogs way back in the day. And, I remember asking the guy who ran, like we would create the content and he would go update the websites and stuff like that. I remember asking him like, Drew, like, should we like put on pants, like a nice shirt or something? And he goes, no, don't. He's like, you want people to see you, like let them disqualify themselves without ever so you don't spend any time with those people. Like if they're going to not work with you because of the way you dress every day at the office, like let them disqualify themselves now because they can see you on video. And I just was like, cool, I'm in, man, I'm sold. And so yeah, I can't tell you how many listings I've taken in a pair of shorts and flip flops. My current screw you is I won't even wear a collar. Like I don't even wear a polo anymore. I started wearing V-necks and T-shirts, and my justification, like I just wear the same one. I actually now have two. I have a V-neck and a whatever you call this regular T-shirt now.
Yeah.
But I've got about 10 or 15 of the exact same shirt, so I just don't have to think about it every day. And it's kind of my current screw you of I'm not going to follow the rules of society, and I'm going to do things. I'm going to succeed the way I want, and I'm going to win and lose based off my merits, not because I dress nice.
And the funny thing is, you have agents in 4 states. You have dozens of agents working for you. You guys are doing extremely well. You've scaled up. You've scaled back. I mean, you found your kind of your sweet spot, but you haven't seen a business been impacted by the way that you dress or the way that you act. And I think that's really key here, is because your culture resonate. It just oozes out of your pores, and people say, hey, I want to be around this guy. Like, I like his vibe. I like what he stands for. And I'm going to guess that it probably had a big part to do with your success now, in the past, and also in the future, because you're like, dude, I'm a flip-flop guy, man. What do you want from me?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the thing is we're just going to be me, and if you don't like me for me, I'm cool with that. And it's who I am. I think it repels certain people. It pulls other people forward and closer, and the people that we wanted to pull closer pulls closer. And quite frankly, it's a really great filter for assholes. So
we had a buddy on here.
But I get you. Yeah.
We had a buddy on here, the Zillow killer, and he said the same thing. He has a no dickhead rule. You have a no asshole rule. I mean, it's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to work with the people you want to work with, because there's people out there that will pollute your life with negativity and consistently be a pain in the rear end. If you can pick and choose people and you automatically put your filter out there, like I just launched a series of videos with my buddy Nick Sakis, and in those videos, all of them, I'm wearing my backwards baseball hat that says Lagunitas on them. I'm cruising around in a T-shirt, highlighting different local businesses, and we're really interested to see how that filter is going to work when it comes to working in real estate. I bet you it's going to have zero effect, and if it does have the effect, it's going to be the people I never wanted to work with in the future, anyways.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. It's definitely it's a good filter. I like to use filters in my life, whether it's to keep people away or to pull stuff in. I'm a big fan of using an automated filter, so I don't have to think about things that aren't important.
Now, how do I filter Johnson? That's my biggest question.
Oh, you will never figure that out, sir. That is the insoluble problem.
Yeah. So where were we? Real estate, right?
Exactly. All right. So we talked about scaling kind of up and down a little bit. Where do you guys sit right now?
Yeah, so so we kind of everything fell apart at the end of 2013. Kind of figured out had to get back in the trenches, which was weird because I hadn't gone and taken a listing in a number of years, and I to learn how to do that, especially like in a traditional market. And so we did that, and then in 2014 started actually getting good at it because it took a while. What I didn't know, I get this friend here. You guys have at least heard of him. His name's Russell Shaw. And Russell always says like the way to become a really great listing agent, step one is to be a really shitty listing agent. And then you become like less shitty, and then you're just bad, and then there's this like progression. And I was like that to a T. And I got to the point after about a year and a half, I went on so many appointments that I got really good at it. But I hated our business. We were making a lot of money because we were the ones doing all the deals. We had a very low overhead. But I hated it. I just didn't like my job. I didn't like my business. And so middle of 14, we started looking for ways to scale. We started looking for things to change. And we make some really big model changes and sort of simultaneously get in business with this guy in Colorado we had made friends with years before and start selling real estate both in Denver and in Phoenix under a new model. And we've then had some ups and downs. We've definitely grown we've grown in number of people. We've decreased the number of people. Last year we did we did exactly 552 transactions, about 150 million in volume. This year we're on pace to do just about the same with about half the number of agents.
Wow.
We've worked hard on our quality of agents and making sure that, quite frankly, the agents that are here are making money and making a lot of money. Like that's our number one thing. And so where we sit today is about 40 or so agents, another 11 or 12 support staff. When you talk about like the programmers, we've got obviously people who are transaction managers. So our transaction managers handle everything contract to close. We've got a staff of operations folks who, of course, the programmers, like I mentioned, people that just support the agents as far as like their social media needs, their login needs, because, everything from the systems we use, like the Mojo Dialer to Boomtown to our own proprietary, we call it our app, our own portal that's got our stuff in it, as well as a few other things. And so that's kind of our staff. So we're probably a little more than 50 or so all in when you look at everybody from salespeople to support. We've got a full-time coach on staff who coaches our agents. And so there we are today. So we're based in Phoenix. We also sell real estate in Tucson, Arizona, San Luis Obispo, California, Denver, Colorado, and Nashville, Tennessee.
Nice. Coincidentally, all beautiful places to travel to.
Yeah, none of those places suck.
No, they do not.
No. We have our friend Melissa who's watching with us, and she actually lives in Nashville as well. She has a paddleboarding company down there as well. So next time you go down, you got to hit her up, man. She'll take you on the river and do some paddleboarding.
Well, I mean, I'll probably do more falling than paddleboarding, but I'm in.
It's all about the experience, bro.
Yeah.
It's all about the experience.
All right. So the quick question on the tech side, because you're one of the only people I've heard that has a team like you do that mentions the word programmers among the staff that you have on board, right? So tell me a little bit about the app and what was it that was missing from all the stuff you can pull off the shelf, so to speak, in real estate land? What was the function that you felt like you needed that you had to build?
I think we just wanted to waste a couple $100,000 is what it comes down to.
Sounds like fun.
It's always fun, right? So
That's right.
So the truth is, if you go backwards in time, 2013, when I really sucked at listings, like the way I figured out that I sucked is I just started tracking the appointments I went on and what I was getting and what I wasn't.
That'll do it.
So it's super high tech, right? And I used this thing called a Google Sheet to do it.
Okay.
And so I had built a spreadsheet. Well, over time, that became like a sheet for me and a sheet for everybody else that ever touched a sale. And so those became what we called our pipeline reports. And we kept building them out in Google. And our director of operations, who is extremely tech savvy, knows enough to be dangerous, but by no means a programmer, was able to take that. And at one point, a couple years ago, we had, I don't know, a couple hundred sheets all tied together with about 300 different pivot tables for all the different reporting that we need, because it had every single transaction and every single appointment tied into it somehow. Right. And so it got too big for Google. And so we went, okay, I guess we could try like SQL database or something. So we went and built a MySQL database, or had one built, and then hired some programmers to come in and sort of run it, as well as kind of build on top of it. So it started out as just tracking for us. Like it's every single appointment ever set, and then every single transaction. So an agent in our company, if you go take a listing, you come back, you go to a website, now you come to our app, you fill out this form, you attach all the documents, and all the information goes into the database, as well as gets sent over to the transactions team, right? So the transaction team knows what to do. All the data is now in the database, and we can do all the reporting that you could ever think of from that. And so just kind of like one thing just led to another, then led to another. And we looked at some off the shelf stuff, and hindsight's 2020. I'd probably go back and not spend the couple $100,000 we've spent on it. But at the same time, it's also kind of cool that it's exactly what we want. And when we want to change something or add something to it, we've got the folks on staff to do it, and they kind of take our vision and run with it. So it's been kind of cool. It creates an extra little tool for our agents, helps them forecast their business, as well as helps us to understand the scope. I always look at, like, I think not enough agents understand their business, and they also, more importantly, don't understand what's to come in their business over the next, like, say, 90 days. And so I can remember a time back in, I think it was early 2016, we were spending a lot of money. We'd lost a lot of money, probably like $100,000 in the first quarter of the year. However, neither one of us were panicking, because we saw in our reporting all of the appointments that were happening, all the buyers and all the sellers that we had been signing. And we know that in our company, based on now thousands and thousands and thousands of appointments with buyers and sellers, that if we set 10 appointments, 7 of them will show up, 5 of them will sign, 2.5 of those will close in a 12-month period. And so we're looking at them, and we can see all the people signing, so we knew what was coming the next few months. And so while we were losing money earlier, if we didn't have the data to tell us what was coming, it would have been really easy to freak out. But for us, it was really easy to stay calm and just keep running the playbook that we had ran.
Right. That's interesting. Very, very cool. Okay. That makes total sense. That's that's a lot of money to spend on an internal tracking reporting system. I think somebody at Lynn Daughtry asked, is this available? I'm guessing not to the public.
No, not right now. I will say this, we're working on kind of a watered down version of it right now, because some of it is so customized. A lot of it is basic principles. Anybody could use it. We've got a friend of ours team testing a kind of a white label version. We want to be able to open it up to the people in our company who aren't on our team to do that in the future, but we're still in the testing phases of that. Cool. So hopefully soon.
All right, so something to keep track of. Let me quickly ask you about the referral degeneration, because we touched on it in pre-show, and we mentioned that we would talk about this, because when most people think of referrals, they think of sphere of influence and past clients, and of course that is a big part of it for you guys, but there's 2 other sources of referrals that I think most people don't even think about or intentionally leverage, but it sounds like you guys have. Tell me a little bit about those other 2 sources.
Yeah, so number one is, I think the easy one is agent to agent, right? So you make a relationship with an agent in another city or sometimes across town. For us, we got a lot of referrals early on because nobody else wanted to do short sales, and we were teaching people how to do short sales. So that quite frankly opened up a lot of doors for us. And so by teaching and giving back to the community, we were able to get back from referrals. But then what we realized is we were working to really turn our business into 2012, early 2013 was, hey, there's companies out there that actually generate referrals, like Referral Exchange. It used to be called Agent Machine. Now it's called Referral Exchange. Now there's a new one. Some people that I really, really admire work for a company called Mello. One friend is the CEO and another friend is the vice president, Chris Heller and Jeremiah Taylor, who I believe you know. And so they recently started working in it. It's kind of they're a sister company of Loan Depot, which is the second largest loan originator in the country. And so they're working on a real estate tech platform to send referrals out to agents for buyers and sellers. So by partnering with companies like that, that quite frankly helped us to kind of get more at bats in the early days, and now it's just kind of part of our business model. So we bring in a lot of referrals that way too, by always making sure we're in relationships with those companies whenever we can.
Yeah, and my buddy Jeff Cohn is a good example of that too. They've experimented with some of those similar types of companies, as well as they're working Dave Ramsey leads, like they're the approved vendor or whatever for Dave Ramsey leads in Nebraska. So yeah, there's some interesting opportunities, Greg. You guys have kind of tinkered and experimented with different referral services too over the years. Is there anything that you've noticed that stuck out and been like successful for you guys?
They all have their ups and downs, quite a bit. I mean, one of the ones that I'm working with right now is called Set Schedule, and they send you stuff. Like I get emails and stuff from them on a consistent basis. Like let's see here, where's my messages? Like they send me stuff like all the time. Like, hey, here's another lead and such, jump on it. It's an opportunity. You got to claim it, and it's a couple of different things. I found that they're really. I mean, there's two other ones that we use right now that are actually doing pretty well. They give us good, solid leads.
Was HomeLight one of them?
Yeah, that's right. HomeLight's one of them. They've actually been one of the best ones for us.
Okay.
But I mean, generally speaking, I mean, mainly where we live when it comes to this stuff is out there just working our database. And I mean, you can get internet leads all day long. Nick Sakis and I are working on his program on the back end. We're just launching the first commercial today or tomorrow, so I'm very excited in the next couple of weeks to see that build and see what he does with it, to see where those go. I mean, I do believe that internet online leads is going to be somewhere we're going to all be focusing at some point, but it's just how we do it and how we filter them and how we do the follow-up. So Agent Legend is something that we use for automated follow-up. Agentology is another one that's really good for lead follow-up. Conversion, if you can dump them directly into conversion and get that system and those funnels and everything set up on the back end, that's another good opportunity for you. That's either Boomtown, Sync, Conversion. Those are all great systems for that type of stuff. But I mean, kind of, Kevin, what you're talking about is, I mean, you have a lot of mouths to feed, and so you guys have the programmers, you have the systems built into place, and a lot of the people that are listening to this right now, please don't misunderstand what Kevin is saying. Don't just go out there and buy all the internet leads you can possibly get your hands on. That's like pissing in the wind and hoping you don't get sprayed. I mean, it's going to come back and hit you, and that's not going to be a pleasant experience because you don't have the staff and the systems to sustain it. Because you can buy 1,000 leads a month, but I mean, Kevin, if you bought 1,000 leads a month and you didn't know where to go and you had to hand dial follow up with all of them, dude, you're dead in the water.
Yeah, you're screwed. Like that's probably the worst thing you could do. I mean, here, it's funny because as many leads as we buy, like we really focus hard on our sphere of influence, our past clients, and generating new referrals from them. And so we have this thing in our company we call the 5 and 5. And this is something our coach Eric had brought into us because he'd used this to build his real estate business over the last 15 or 16 years. And the 5 and 5 is really simple. So it's make 5 contacts a day with your sphere of influence. And these are just relationship building conversations. These are not, hey, Matt, do you want to buy or sell real estate? That is not this call. This call is, hey, Matt, what's going on? How can, what's going on in your life? Like, hey, did you hear about this concert? Whatever, right? Pure relationship building. And if possible, one of those in person a day. So it's 5 sphere of influence conversations, and then 5 conversations with people who aren't your client yet, who you're looking to move forward in the sales process. That's it. If you can do that, you're going to be set. Like if you do that 5 days a week for a year, for 2 years, like your pipeline will be so full in this business. And if you only need to talk to 5 people a day that aren't your sphere, you don't need 1,000 internet leads. You don't need that many. You really don't. And so I think that's one of the mistakes that people make. I'm glad you said that. Is they think more new leads is the answer, and the reality is it's not. You need to qualify the leads that you do have and stick to that plan.
So here's a question. I mean, we work with a guy named Hank Avick quite a bit, and he has a 36 to life, and very similar to what you're talking about.
36 to life, is he in jail or what?
He committed crimes against humanity, yes. Called Making People Too Happy in Life. But great guy, but his program is 36 Life, and what it talks about is you go out there and you have your 50, your 20, your 5, and your 1. So very much like your 5 and 5. So you have 50 people, you go out like happy birthday or just make some sort of notification on social media, like or follow, whatever else. Then you have 20, like, hey, happy birthday, how was your trip? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Very cursory, high-level conversations. So 20, you're 50, that's your 20. Then you have your 5. Those are your 5 conversations of like, hey, happy birthday. Thanks, Greg. Hey, Kev, how was your birthday? What'd you guys do? Oh, we went to Cheesecake Factory. That's awesome. That's awesome. How's the wife? It's good. Conversation, right?
Right.
And then you have your 1 solid, like, life-changing conversation a day, Like, all right, Kev, dude, how's life? What's going on? How's your mom? I know last time that she was having a rough time with it, the cat's peeing on the sofa. Is that still happening? Well,
Right.
Greg, it's been a horrible situation. We've had to put the couch outside. You have. Well, let me show you where I got my custom couch. So I have a deeper conversation. I'm making light of something, but I mean, you know where I'm going. But for yours, I think yours is a very doable program. I mean, it's so simple. It's 5 sphere of influences. Now, do you guys use send out cards by any chance? Do you guys ever?
No.
Have you guys? Dude,
No.
check this out. Okay, so I went
I'm
out
not,
to this.
I'm old fashioned. Like I have a stack of like I like to handwrite my notes. So we don't do that as a company. We don't tell people they have to do, they send but like I personally enjoy sending handwritten notes. And so that was something that I really like committed to doing more of this year and have been consistent with, and I love it.
Dude, notes by themselves, no matter what, handwritten or through send out. I went to this place called Craft. It's a local brewery. Which Matt, by the time when you're up here next time, dude, we'll check it out. It's literally 5 minutes from my house. I didn't even know it's in this industrial park. Super cool people trying to get a hold of them to interview them. Dude, I sent them a send out card, and they hit me up. They're like, "Hey, man, thanks for the card. That was super awesome. Yeah, let's film at my in my tap room. Do you want people in there or not?" So what I'm getting at, it's the super personal side of just reaching out, either pen to paper or a send out card or something, and you can do that. If you guys want to try send out cards, go to Free Card by Greg, and you guys can try a free card, and just give it a run.
Yeah. Zach Hammer's watching with us, which I knew he would be. He says, "Damn cat's always being on the sofa."
What's up, Zach? How you doing, dude?
Oh man. So Brandon's watching as well. He says we're not in the real estate business. We're in the relationship business. That is 100% true.
Yep.
So it's hard to keep in mind, but stuff like real estate or send out cards or having a stack of something like there with you, like always around, and just making it easy on yourself to do that. Because a lot of times we have good intentions about being in the relationship business. We just don't follow through. It's not that we don't know that. It's the pesky actually doing stuff that always trips us up, right?
I've got a buddy who he owns a company called Win by Noon, and it's literally it's a paper planner. It's like a calendar with a planner, and it's got placement for notes. And he releases a new version, not new version. He prints them every quarter, right? And he's got a whole training system behind it, which is awesome. He started out in the lending industry. He's got it for realtors as well. But what he did for us for the fourth quarter is, because I started using this calendar recently in the last 6 months, is he customized it, put the 5 and 5 inside of it for every day, so we have a conference every year for our agents called the Think Bigger Conference, and that's coming up in September. And so everybody on our team is gonna get one, everybody who wants one anyways, this paper planner, and it's gonna have a spot like for their 5 and 5. So it'll have our logo on the cover and everything because he customized it for us. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's simple. It's 5. Just have those 5 conversations every day. Like that is very simple, and it is about relationships and just going, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love it.
that is the big question. It's not about what you're going to get from them. It's about what you can do for them. The law of reciprocity will kick in like a freight train going downhill, and it's not going to stop. And we talked about paper binders. I went to visit with him last year, and he gave us this. And in this binders, when you open it up, the way these things are built is that you can just literally pop these guys out and then re-put them anywhere in your notebook that fit better versus just where they're written in the notebook. So it's actually a really cool little notebook. And I like how you go about with that, with the tangible side of it, because I need my tangible stuff. I mean, Matt always makes fun of me, but I mean, I have just 3 of my Hobbit pads here. I mean, I have like a stack, no joke, like this tall in my storage unit of just other stuff I need to keep written down. But there's something about flipping through that and looking back and looking at old notes, because the power of writing something down is incredibly powerful. I wrote yesterday. I was going into the radio station to do the learning how to play with the board and the whole thing, and I wrote this. I pulled out this little black book that's been in this middle drawer right here for 4 years. Okay. I pulled it out. I'm like, oh, there's that notebook. I know what I wrote in that. I pulled it out. First thing on the first page was that I own an SRT8. I'm on the radio, and I'm creating mass amounts of leads. I wrote that 4 years ago. I haven't looked at it in 4 years. and it came true just from writing it down, taking it from between your ears and putting it on paper. So I love how you guys are doing that, how you really break it down, you make them carry it around with them.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I think it's been such a good tool.
Actually, Maria's watching with us and asks, Greg, where can I get those? I don't even know what binder you're talking about. Is this something that's only that Hank gave you guys, that he produced? Did he make that? Did he physically, like, was he back there with stitching, just making those?
Does Hank like have elves that work in the
Tiny
back
fingers.
of his house? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So you think Hank had kids because he loves kids? Like, no.
It's just for slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
I will find a link for it, and I will put it in here for you guys.
All right, awesome.
Cool.
All right, so Kevin, what have you, because you've scaled up and down. I'm curious, just kind of, is there anything, whether it's words of caution or hard lessons learned, especially from kind of expanding out? You've got people, I mean, those are wildly different markets. There's nothing similar about Nashville, Tennessee, and San Luis Obispo that I know of, unless there's some, I don't know, there's some secret underground railroad between those two places. What have you learned that you can share from the hard lessons of expanding into wildly different markets?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, so there's a couple things. It all comes down to who you're in business with, right? So, like, okay. I cannot drive that lesson home enough. It is about who you are in business with, and I mean that.
Yeah, but what about them? You know,
well,
I'm talking about. You can find driven people. You can find people with but let's dig into this.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like, does somebody have the right disc or the agent?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about that crap.
Yeah.
Because in my experience, I've actually have successful agents on all parts of that, like with all different personalities and all different behaviors. So, but what I'm talking about is who they are character-wise. And who they are as people, and are they driven enough to get the job done? Like, you don't actually have to be like a high D or a high vector 1 to use that language to be driven, right? You don't. You need to have purpose for why you get up and go make money every day. And so, being in business with people who are driven is obviously important. People, so they've got a reason to do it. They want. I don't care what the reason is, but I do care if they're good people. Mm-hmm. And are they like? I don't know how to say it, but are they good people? And this has everything to do with, and are they fair? Do they treat people fair? And are they fun to be around with? Like, we've let people go before who were, quite frankly, productive, but not good. Like, they just weren't good people, and they weren't a good teammate. And so I have no problems letting somebody go or cutting off a relationship because of the way somebody behaves. Absolutely have no problem with that. And I mean this, everything from the people that are in your company, so the agents that you hire, if you're a team, or the team that you join, if you're an agent looking to join a team, or if you're an agent who joins a brokerage, who are you in business with? Like, it has so many ramifications all the way across the board. And so number one lesson is, like, get in business with good people. The thing I know about real estate is it's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. And that means our models are going to continue to change. As long as we're in business with the right people, we'll be in good shape. So get in business with the right people first, and the rest will take care of itself. Now, don't get me wrong. You got to execute, but execution is part of being in business with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know, one thing that Matt and I figured out early on in our partnership here with the podcast and everything else is that, you know, first we resonated together. We really worked well together. We complemented each other, but we also respected each other. Yeah, we banter and we fight and we bicker, but that's a healthy relationship in any, you know, business or professional. You got to have that disagreement. But you know what? We enjoy being around each other. Like when he was up here a couple of days ago, we made time to get together and hang out and go race around the SRT because we enjoyed our partnership and hanging out. You know, there are so many people that are miserable because they just go after the economics and they don't go after the culture. And the culture is what, I mean, business is basically a marriage because you're going to be spending time with that individual a ton and probably away from your wife more than you think, or your husband or whatever your flavor is. You know, and it's imperative to have that done the right way, because one bad apple can destroy a culture, can destroy an office, can really uproot a lot of stuff.
Yep, I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, and business partnerships, man. It's somebody asked me, who was it? I think I was having a conversation with somebody about potentially being on their podcast, and we were talking about self-awareness and the role of like analyzing your failure honestly and how that plays into self-awareness. And they're like, well, can you give me a story that like exemplifies what you mean by that? I'm like, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, honestly, it's all the business partnerships I got into, and having to like slowly remove myself and extricate myself from all these, because at one point I realized, I looked around and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing like, these are not projects. I'm in 5 startup businesses. Like, how the hell did this happen? I have to get out of like most of these immediately. And so the last, I don't know, year and a half of my life has been the story of like strategically withdrawing so that I can, focus, and really narrowing down to the point where you're in business with the people that you enjoy the most, that you understand their character, that the strengths complement each other. And it takes a while to figure that out, right? I mean, there's no way to necessarily know that right up front. But I like the no dickhead policy. I mean, at the very least, you can go in and for the most part, intuitively whether you want to spend time with that person. A lot of people, I feel like in this business, we ignore that initial intuition because we're looking at them on paper going, oh, this might work out.
They look good. Yeah, it looks good on paper. It's funny. Yeah. So I've got 2 partnerships. So my business, and I get calls all the time. Like people go, hey, I was talking to so-and-so. They said to call you because I'm thinking about teaming up with somebody. And you're the only person they really know of that has a partnership that's not like family or marriage or anything like that that's lasted. Okay. And so I get those calls all the time. And so my business partner and I, we worked together now for 10.5 years. It's a great partnership. And we've got another partnership, like in our Facebook group with Cody Gibson. I don't know if you've ever had Cody on as a guest or not, but Cody's a good buddy of ours who I've known for years. And we partnered literally on a Facebook group that's now turned into a bit of a business. We put on live events. We're working on our 2nd live event now. And, tons of different like webinars and things. And like Cody, like if Cody was an asshole or Cody wasn't fun to work with, like we wouldn't be in that relationship, right? We would get out of it. And I've had other business partnerships where I just went, well, things aren't lining up here. I'm out. Like, cause the minute you guys you've got partners that see like different visions, it's over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's over. And so I learned early on to remove myself quickly. Once I realized like there's different visions. Once you realize they're going different ways, get out.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt and I have done that a couple of times. We were looking at different things, and then we decided, you know what, this just isn't going to align with where Matt and I want to go. So we said, thank you very much. It's been fun getting to know you, but we got to go our own directions. And it was the healthiest thing because, you know what, now we're all still friends. There's no bad blood. There's no animosity. Everyone's still going their direction. But, one of the things I want to kind of hammer on here for the last couple of minutes here is culture for you. What are some of the big things you look for culture, for your different, your different offices or just overall your company vibe? I mean, what's that thing that you look for?
Yeah, I struggle with the word culture, and it's probably just because I've seen it used as a sword for so long. Like I can't stand that word, if I'm being honest with you. But I get where you're coming from.
Right.
And the reality is, I think you create that yourself. And you do that by being who you are. And so for me, like I'm the dude in flip flops and shorts and sometimes a t-shirt, sometimes a V-neck shirt. I'm just who I am. But the way I treat you and whether or not we have fun and stuff like that, to me, that's what creates the culture. Now, we do things in our company, especially because we have people in different cities and states, to help create culture. Like we get together in person. We do quite a few events like this. Like we'll use Zoom for our meetings and for our coaching calls so we can see each other face to face. It's just different things like that. It's how you treat each other. Culture is really how you treat each other. It's not this set of rules. Like I've seen culture used almost as like a religion, which is like my interpretation of this rule that's written, and then I'm going to use it against you when I don't like the way you're behaving. Like, which that's bullshit. Right. I can't stand that. I cannot fucking stand that. And so I do everything I can to distance myself from that. And so for us, it's just like, are we having fun? Are we making money? Are we impacting lives? At the end of the day, our mission statement is produce extraordinary results, influence people, and impact lives. And if I can do those things, then that's the culture. Like that's what I want to do. I want to have a lot of fun doing it.
Love it. Yeah, I think maybe the word vibe is a better term. Yeah, it's almost as if, and of course, a lot of us are working virtually nowadays, but yeah, I mean, a great way to think about it is if you if you had control over the room and you walked into that room, what does that room look, sound, and feel like? And everybody's going to be different, and so, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from with the word culture because it can absolutely be a sword. But yeah, I think what it comes down to is having the self-awareness to know kind of what your core values are and why you are the way you are, why you act the way that you do.
Yep.
Being able to articulate it to somebody else so that they can decide, oh yeah, that resonates with me, and here's where I'm similar and here's where I'm different.
Yeah.
And the easier we make it for, like, the easier that we can articulate it to the other people, I think the faster we'll expose whether they're not a good fit. Because right off the bat, they'll see, oh, I kind of like this stuff over here, but I'm not, I like the flip-flop stuff. Not so on board with all the hard work stuff, all the execution, actually getting stuff done stuff, like all
wait,
that.
You guys actually work here? Oh no.
You had me right up until the staying till 9 o'clock at night to do some calls. I'm all on board with the showing up in flip-flops, but
shit, dude, I had people leave at 9 a.m. because they realized there was going to really be phone call. No joke.
Seriously?
We hired this guy. 3 interviews. Like, we absolutely, like, we're so transparent as to what our model is, how we operate. Scripts practice in the morning, phone calls right after. Mm-hmm. And this guy, like, literally shows up for his first day. We have scripts practice 8:30 to 9. He goes to the bathroom at 9 and leaves. I can't do this. Wow. Like, I didn't think we were really going to be like making calls like this.
Yeah, dude.
Like the 4 times that we told you that we were going to be making calls from 9 to 11, like you didn't believe that. Which is cool though, but here's the other thing too. And my issue with the word culture, which is clearly my issue, and I need to see a therapist about this, is that the more you are just who you are, and just honest and consistent, like, to me, that's the culture. Like, it's not this set of rules. Like, I got a lot of stuff written on this board over here that's just like different sayings that we've written down over the last few months. That's not it. That's not culture, because that shit's just writing and it's reminders. What culture is the way we show up. It's not me going, oh, Matt, are you living with intention or are you living in an illusion? I think you're living in an illusion right now. Because that's the way I see culture operate a lot of times, and it's not. It's like, how do I show up every day consistently, repeatedly? That's culture.
So, Kevin, I got a funny story for you. I thought I had the shortest employment ever of a team member, but you beat me. This guy came onto our team, like you, interviews, right? Told him we're going to door knock, we're going to do calls, we're going to do this. 24 hours, he went, did doors, he did calls. You can see him grimacing. He was doing pretty good. He didn't show up the next day. I'm like, well, that was the shortest thing ever. I would have much rather have him show up for 30 minutes and then have him bail. That would have saved me a whole day of bullshit.
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, we learned early on, too. We were going to hire a lot of people. So one of the things we had to do is we had to learn how to scale training so that way it didn't take anybody's time.
Yeah.
And so, in fact, right before this, we were on a call with a guy for a webinar we're going to be doing in our Facebook group for the guy who owns the software company that we've used to scale our training. He was a consultant we worked with years ago to take all of our training and basically make it so we could massively reproduce it and not have to spend a lot of time. Like, we can't have my time, my schedule, or somebody else's schedule be the roadblock to being able to onboard agents. Not if we're going to ever get to our goal of having a couple hundred agents.
Right. So, out of pure curiosity, I mean, who is the company? What's the software they're using for the training? Because I mean, I think a lot of people that are out there. I mean, if it's proprietary, I mean, obviously keep it to yourself.
No, it's cool. It's called Trainual. We're using another. This guy he owns the software company, but he's also a consultant, and he consulted us into using a different software previously. We used a software called Lessonly until about last month. We migrated off. But what he did, because he came in, he spent a few days with us. We talked to him about our vision and where we wanted to go, what content we did have, what we were willing to create. And ultimately he came back with, like, I'd love for you to use my product, and it's just not where you need it to be. And so I think you need to use one of these other ones. And so we went with Lessonly. But what he did is he took that as a challenge to go make his company better. He actually ended up shutting down his consulting business and just went full blown into this redevelopment of his software called Trainual. So I feel like next Thursday or something like that, we're actually going to do a webinar where we kind of show our onboarding and training program using that software, because it's pretty cool. It's really affordable. And if you're going to hire agents, like, it can't be on a spreadsheet, can't be on a piece of paper, and it certainly can't be held up here. hoping I teach you the same thing every time to the next 20 people I hire, because you're
Right.
not going to say it the same way every time.
Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
Love it.
one of the big problems with teams. It's inconsistent training, which drives Matt right up a tree when it comes to me training people, because I always will do scripts in a different way every time we do scripting, because that's the way I flow. And he wants to tear his eyes out with rusty nails, and I love it. It's fun as hell. But I like your.
The other thing too, like to go back to expansion, like if you're going to expand and work in different markets, like you've got to be consistent with your training. You've got to find a way to expand your training. So, a lot of people would say expansion is just about hiring an agent in another city. Maybe it's about generating leads in another city too. Yeah, that's part of it, but it's also expanding your training, and it's expanding your administrative services, and how are you going to support those people, and supporting them is, that's where training falls under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does.
All right, so you've got your primary markets. So just to recap, we've got Phoenix, Denver, San Luis Obispo, Nashville, correct?
Yeah, those are primary,
Okay.
and Tucson, Arizona as well.
Tucson. Okay, perfect. So how do people reach you to actually send you referrals?
Oh, real estate. By the way, referrals happen to be my love language. So,
That is a great line.
yeah. So referrals, you can just send it to realestate@group4610.com. It comes right to me and my business partner, realestate@group4610.com. You can find us in our Facebook group, Next Level Agents, as well. That is by no means a referral group. That is a mastermind group. Like everything referral wise gets deleted in there, but you can find us easily in there, find conversations, and then Facebook, Instagram, etc., all that good stuff.
Perfect. Love it. And then Greg, how do people reach out and connect with you?
Guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. You see it on the screen right down there at the bottom. If you guys are listening to my pearly voice, go to bookmcdaniel.com. The reason why is that Matt and I are building a movement here with EXP. We're putting the right people in the right seats on the bus to move forward together. We're currently the #1 recruiter for our team. So you guys, if you guys want to be a part of something that Matt and I are building on an aggressive basis, come and check it out. We have masterminds, we have tons of products you guys will be able to learn from. Probably, I think, 15 to 20 hours somewhere in there of recorded content you guys can get. You get mastermind calls with Jeff Cohn and his organization on Wednesdays and Fridays. You get one-on-one coaching with me if you want to do it. And so, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Let's see if EXP, our team, our movement, what we're doing, our tribe is the right thing for you guys. So that's why you get a hold of me. Back to you, Matt.
All right. And then for the podcast itself, make sure to subscribe, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all the places where you prefer to listen to fine, high-quality podcasts. Only the finest.
Only the finest.
That's right. Grade A. FDA-approved podcast. And so make sure you can always grab us on YouTube. I don't know where that came from.
FDA is a dirty organization, man. I don't know if
I know, it's terrible. God, may we never have to have podcasts approved by a corrupt federal government institution. Okay.
You could have just said government institution.
Yeah,
I know. It's really redundant. It's a bit of a redundancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A little on the nose. Make sure to go to YouTube, subscribe to us there. You can also find all of our happenings at reuncensored.com. We are live 3 days a week, so make sure to join us. We'll be back at the same time on Friday. We are live right here on Facebook, so make sure to follow Greg, his personal account, or you can like the Real Estate Uncensored Facebook page. Either way. I think that's all I've got. So, Greg, shall we put, in honor of, I think Kevin and I are wearing the same exact type of color shirt, so let's put a black bow, put a nice little black bow upon this episode.
Let's put a black bow on this episode. Guys, thank you for watching. We love you to pieces. The reason why we do the show is because we want to see you guys live the life of extraordinary circumstances. We don't want to see you want to survive. We want to see you thrive. So share the show. Thank you again. We love you. We're going to keep bringing people like Kevin back to you that have got epic content so you guys can take some morsels of goodness that resonate with you, put them into your business, and just thrive. So until the next episode, peace out, ninjas. We gone.